Episode 258, The Loneliest Seat in the Room, when you're the only one who sees the struggle. Well, hey there, Mama. Welcome to the Not Your Average Autism Mom podcast. I am your host, Shannon Urquiola. I am mom to an amazing young adult named Jordan, who is 29 now. I'm a life and parent coach and mentor to an incredible community of moms, all raising children on the spectrum. And I show up here for you every week, our listeners, because I know this road isn't easy. I have walked it for over 2 decades, and I know the mix of love and hope and fear and frustration that comes with it. So, whether your kiddo just got diagnosed or you've been doing this a while, I want you to know that you belong here. I keep these episodes short, usually 20 minutes or less, because I know your time is limited. You've got enough on your plate, and I want to make sure that every minute that you spend here is worth it. So, most of our episodes are quick, real, practical. That's just how we do things around here. So, I want to jump into this week's episode. And in this episode, I want to talk about something that so many of you carry quietly, and it can feel incredibly isolating. That is the loneliest seat in the room. It's the feeling of being the only one who sees your children struggle, right? The only one who sees how hard your child is trying. The only one who sees how they're trying to just survive the day. The only one who sees the meltdown coming before anyone else even notices. The only one that sees that fine is actually fragile sometimes. And sometimes the only one who sees how much support they really need. Because from the outside, you might hear things like, he seems fine to me. She doesn't look autistic. He was fine at school. We're not seeing that here. And every time someone says something like that, it chips away at you. Not because you want your child to look like they're struggling, but because you know what happens behind closed doors or in the car. And every time someone says that, even if they don't mean harm, it feels like a tiny dismissal, like you're overreacting, like you're dramatic, like maybe you're imagining it. And that is such a lonely place to stand. It's that seat at the IEP table where everyone else is nodding and you're thinking, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. It's that seat at the family gathering when someone says, he seems fine to me. It's the seat in the pediatrician's office when you try to explain shutdowns and they say, well, that's pretty typical. It's the seat you sit in when you feel like you're the only one who is seeing these things. Other people get the edited version. You live the full documentary. And let's talk about when fine really isn't fine and what that actually looks like in real life. Your child goes to school. The teacher reports a good day, no major incidents. You wait in the car line, you pick them up, they get in, they slam the car door, they scream over the wrong radio station, they melt down over the wrong snack. They come home and unravel for 3 straight hours. And you sit there thinking, what just happened? Well, what happened is nervous system overload. What happened is masking. What happened is they used every ounce of regulation they had, and you are the safe place where it finally all spills out. It was a good day because they held it together. It was a good day because they masked. It was a good day because they used every ounce of regulation they had, and now there's nothing left. But when someone says, we're not seeing that here, it can really start to mess with your head and can feel like they're questioning your credibility or honesty. And you begin to question yourself. Am I overreacting? Am I too protective? Is this my anxiety? And that's where subtle gaslighting creeps in. And listen, it's not usually malicious, it's not always intentional, but it still feels invalidating. When you're told, all kids do that, he just needs more discipline. Maybe you're worrying too much. She seems totally normal to me. When what they don't see is, the 2 a.m. anxiety spiral, the refusal to sleep alone, the way they stop speaking when they're overwhelmed, the stomach aches before school, the complete crash after social events, the blocking doors because of elopement, you sitting in IEP meetings explaining things you've already explained 10 times. Other people just see a snapshot. You live it 24/7. Of course, you see more. You are there for the unfiltered version. And when someone minimizes it, it can make you question yourself. And here's something really important. Not all dysregulation is loud. A lot of our kids hold it together in public. It might look like them zoning out, staring at a wall, going to the bathroom to escape the thing, whatever the thing is, saying, I'm tired every afternoon, refusing to participate, but not causing disruption. Some kids don't explode, they implode. And because it's not disruptive, it often doesn't get seen or addressed. But internalizing stress all day is not fine. It's dysregulation. It's their survival mode. And a lot of times, unless you know what you're looking for, you won't see it. And you see it because you live with your child. So you see the entire version of their life. And there's something that happens when you're raising autistic children with significant needs. We throw out the parenting handbook. You see the crash after school. You see the exhaustion. You see the anxiety when something changes at the last minute. And guess what? Timeouts don't work. Typical consequences don't work. Reward charts sometimes don't work. Just be consistent isn't enough. You try everything: therapies, supplements, diet changes, sleep strategies, medications, right? You question yourself constantly. Am I too strict? Am I not strict enough? Am I missing something? Is this trauma, anxiety, ADHD, autism, all of it? You live in a state of vigilance that most people will never understand. And when someone says he seems fine, it almost feels insulting because they're seeing the highlight reel. And then there's another layer here that doesn't get talked about enough: grief. Not because you don't love your child, but because you had expectations. You imagined parenting differently. You imagined sports teams without anxiety and birthday parties without sensory overload and sleepovers and friend groups and easy transition. You imagined normal. And instead, you're navigating trial and error, strategies that don't work, appointments and therapies that may or may not help, constant mental calculations about safety and regulation. And when reality looks different than what you pictured, there's this quiet ache that we carry, an ache for things that might never be, an ache for ease, an ache for your child to not have to struggle so hard. You can love your child fiercely and still grieve. Those two things can exist together. And if you've ever had thoughts like, what would our life look like if this wasn't so hard? That doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes you human. Now, here's the tricky part. How do you trust your intuition without becoming defensive? Because when you feel dismissed enough times, your nervous system shifts into fight mode fast. And before you know it, you're reacting instead of responding. You walk into meetings already braced, already guarded, already ready to fight. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that's necessary, but not always. And here's what I've learned: you don't have to be loud to be firm. You can say, I understand you're not seeing that here. At home, we're seeing significant anxiety and shutdown. And I'd like us to look at that together. You can document, you can bring data, you can keep records, because documentation is powerful. Track patterns. What time of day behaviors happen? What happened before the meltdown? Sleep patterns, sensory triggers, post-school crashes. And instead of saying, you're not listening to me, you could say something like, I've tracked this over the last month, and there's a clear pattern after unstructured transitions. I'd love if we could problem solve that together. But it's also so important that you regulate yourself first, because if your nervous system is activated, everything feels like a threat. So it's really important that you pause before responding. Take notes instead of reacting. Follow up in writing. Remember, data carries more weight than reactive emotion always. When you bring data instead of emotion into appointments or meetings or family gatherings, you stay grounded. And when you regulate yourself first, your advocacy becomes stronger, not louder. And I'm just going to say, if you haven't listened to episode 256, where I dive deep into this and I talk about advocating in all areas of your life, this isn't just about IEP meetings. It could be before a family gathering or a friend's birthday party. So I always say, before appointments or meetings or those events, give yourself time to pause. Sit in your car, slow your breathing down, relax your jaw, unclench your hands, and write down your top 3 points that you want to be sure to talk about or solve. What that does is that shifts the tone from confrontation to collaboration. When your nervous system is calm, you can speak clearly. You don't need to be aggressive or confrontational. Your confidence is powerful. And listen, real quick, if your child is holding it together all day and then falls apart as soon as they come through the door, expect that crash. Plan for it. Create a soft landing for them at home. Lower the demands after school. Offer a quiet space. Have sensory tools available. Delay homework when possible, because that shift alone changes the tone in your home. And if this is something that you're dealing with, go back and listen to episode 153, where I talk specifically about struggles with after school transitions. You know, the truth is, behind every autistic child is a parent who is fighting battles most people never see, right? The paperwork, the phone calls, the therapy appointments, the research, the late night Googling, the way you scan environments for exits, the way you anticipate sensory overload, the way you mentally prepare for public outings. They don't understand the marriage strain, the sibling challenges, the financial strain, the emotional strain. You are the historian of your children's lives. You remember the regression at age 4, the shutdown at the birthday party, the first panic attack, the medication side effects, the small victory that no one else noticed. You're holding the full narrative. And you don't need universal agreement to trust what you know. Your intuition is built on years of lived data. You carry it all. You live in a state of vigilance, like I said, that most people will never understand. And just because other people don't see it doesn't mean it isn't real. You cannot rely on universal validation because, mama, it will not come. But the isolation can feel so real. When you're the only one who sees it, you start to feel alone. You get tired of explaining, tired of proving, tired of justifying. And this is why community matters. When another mom says, "Oh yeah, that happens here too," it releases something in you. You are not dramatic. You're not unstable. You're not imagining it. You're raising a child whose brain processes the world differently. And that requires strength that most people never develop. So instead, be intentional. Build a small circle of people who actually see what you see or are at least willing to believe you and look deeper. One provider who truly listens. One friend or fellow autism mom who gets it. And the third one is yourself. And that last one matters the most. You have to learn to trust your own read of your child. You have years of lived experience. You are not guessing, you are observing. And that matters. And if you're the only one seeing the struggle right now, I want you to know that your intuition matters. Your lived experience matters. You don't need validation from teachers or family or providers to trust what you know. You are not overreacting. You are paying attention. And that is one of the most powerful things that you can do as a mom. But here's the part we don't talk about enough. Sitting in the loneliest seat long enough will exhaust you. And when you're exhausted, everything feels harder. You start advocating from frustration instead of clarity. You start reacting instead of responding. You start questioning yourself. And that's exactly why I created the Reset Workshop, because you cannot advocate when your nervous system is fried. And this workshop helps you clear the mental noise, calm your body, and show up intentionally instead of reactively. So if this episode feels like it's describing your life, I encourage you to take the next step. I put the link to the Reset Workshop in the show notes. You deserve to step out of survival mode, and trust me, it will make a difference. If you are sitting in the loneliest seat in the room right now, please believe me when I tell you, you are not crazy. You are not dramatic. You are not overprotective. You are observant. You are paying attention. And your child is lucky to have someone who sees what other people miss. I always want you to remember that you are the mom that your children need. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope this has been helpful. Every week, I'm here because I know how hard this can be, especially when you feel alone in all of it. And when you're ready for more than just a weekly podcast, if you're struggling, if you feel alone and you want resources that actually make a difference, head over to our website at notyouraverageautismmom.com and check out our private membership. That's where the real support is. Coaching, connection, community for this life that you didn't expect, but you're learning to embrace. It's built for moms just like you. And don't forget, if you love this episode, please share it with another mom who could use some encouragement today. And leave a review, tag us on social media, and help us in getting this message out and normalizing this parenting journey that none of us planned. Until next week, have a great week ahead. And remember, above all, you, mama, are doing amazing at this mom thing.